Hey y'all, it's y'all favorite cozy girl, Chi the Reality Queen, and I am back again with another episode of Robe Chronicles. Tonight we're going to be talking about Summer House Martha's Vineyard, Season 2, Episode 4. And I'm just going to start out by saying, y'all need to really watch this show. Like, do I think that they could probably do a revamp of the cast and maybe include more single people? I'm not saying that you can't have like one or two taken people, but of 10, only one woman that's taken, or two women that are taken, and six men, and all of them are pretty much taken except for one. It, like, that makes the dynamic a little difficult because then all the single women are going after one guy. I don't know. I think they could kind of change that up a little bit. But other than that, the show premise itself is really good. I mean, they already have a summer house regular. So I think, and a winter house and whatever. So I think it's just like that. I don't know what the ratings are on the other summer house or winter house because I do not watch those. But I know that this show is good, but the ratings seem to be struggling a bit. And I wish more people would be in tune with the show. Um, so, anyways, this episode starts off with where they left off, where Summer and Jordan were arguing, and Summer pretty much just storms out of the car. She leaves. She's mad because she feels that Jordan keeps talking to her disrespectfully. And I talked about this last episode. I think Jordan is allowed to disrespect everyone, and people have to treat Jordan with kid gloves because she has alopecia or whatever the fuck it is. Excuse my language. But it's like, girl, you talk to people so crazy and no one can say anything back to you. And despite you having this ailment, it is not a reason for you to always be like rude to people. Like, you have to be able to handle this sickness that you're dealing with and treat people based on how they're treating you. And if it's not badly, you don't get to treat them badly. Um, so then basically Summer asked Jasmine if she could sleep in her room because, you know, she's mad at Jordan and she doesn't want to share the space with her. Noelle is up in her room crying because she's so embarrassed about the situation with Alex. And honestly, it was pretty embarrassing. Basically, trying to have, call dibs, not dibs, but just kind of have a little ownership over a dude that has not expressed his interest in you fully is crazy town. And I feel so bad for Noelle for it because like I actually like her as a castmate. And so I feel that she like it's just not good. It's not good optics because she's a cute girl. Like she's a really cute girly. And so to be on this show, like, and our first experience with you is almost like begging a man. And y'all know how I feel about begging men. You do not beg men over here. You don't beg them for nothing. And that's not to say that men should beg women. No, begging is just, ugh, God, makes me uncomfortable. No more begging, guys. But, anyways, Preston then tries to explain to Jordan, like, kind of what's going on and Summer's viewpoint. And literally, while all of this kind of like small little fires are happening, Shanice and Nick are on the couch, like eating chips and dip. Like, literally, watch Summer storm in. Everybody's like, "What happened? What happened?" Nick and Shanice are like, "This chip is really good. This is delicious." I'm like, y'all don't see y'all castmates suffering, but I know Shanice is a little, she don't care about Summer for real because Summer talked about the way she dressed, and for some reason she's holding a grudge on that as well. Where I'm like, who cares if somebody thinks you don't dress well? Honestly, like if somebody told me they don't like what I'm wearing, that's too damn bad because I'm gonna wear what I want to wear, right? If that's what you like, let me say that. If that's what you like. But if you're not dressing for yourself and you're dressing for other people, then I guess, yeah, that's going to be a hard hit. Um, but then, Summer's kind of going off to Jasmine about why she's mad. And I feel like someone else was around and they were just, and she was just kind of saying, like, you know, I was there for her earlier today. Like, if I had a real problem with her where I did not like her, I would not be supporting her in her time of need. But when she was crying earlier today, I was there for her. I was, so it's not like I'm not her friend or anything like that. Like, we're still cool. I just, right now, I'm upset with what she's doing. Plain and simple. It's not a forever thing, or I'm not going to be holding it. But in this moment, what she did, I don't like. And that's that. And Noelle is still in the room crying, embarrassed, trying to call her mom. But I assume it's a very late hour because they had gone out and come back home. And Alex is pretty much laughing about everything, saying this is so chaotic, and he don't know how men have multiple wives because women are crazy and pretty much super emotional. He's kind of right, but people who have multiple wives, if you have multiple wives and you have a lot of money, it makes sense. If you have multiple wives and you broke, you're playing yourself. um, then I think Shanice and Amir and a couple people were talking, and she just farted. It's so funny to me because I feel like Shanice is so not polished. She's not a polished person. And that's okay, because everybody is who they are. Like, and I'm not, God, I have a double mind about this, right? I'm somebody who believes that if you have bodily functions that need to escape, as kind of nasty and maybe awkward or embarrassing as they may be, they must escape. They just gotta come out how they come out. But I am a fan of people being like, hey, excuse me, or whatever. She just let it ride. That's where I have a problem. Not really the farting, but more so the fact that she just laughed. Like, it was whatever to her. Um, and yeah, I think she brought up again. So Summer then was talking, and she brought up again how she was there for Jordan while she was crying, and like, she's a good friend and blah blah blah. These people like to rehash a lot. Um, and then Shanice goes to ask Jordan about it. Like, well, why were you crying? I didn't know something was wrong with you earlier today. And Jordan starts crying again. And she's like, oh, I have alopecia. My hair is falling out. I don't feel like myself. And I feel like that might be why I'm being mean to people. And like I said, you need to treat people how they are treating you. And if no one's treating you poorly, then you don't get to treat people poorly because you're going through something. It's just not fair. And so that's really where I'm at with Jordan. And then Jordan is kind of like getting upset because she feels like Summer is weaponizing her sickness. And I'm like, this is why. Like, that was not what happened at all. Like, not even a little bit. And you're trying to make this into something that it wasn't. Summer was just explaining to people who see her crying and upset and angry, like, this too shall pass. Like, we are good friends. I am there for her in her time of need. Also, we have to remember these are drunk people. These are not sober people talking. So maybe if she wouldn't have exposed that Jordan was crying earlier if she was sober, but you have to understand that drunk, she's kind of a little on edge. And I did not hear her say, again, the cameras might have edited it how they wanted to, but I didn't hear her say Jordan has alopecia and she was crying over it and she was da 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 da. She just said when she was having a tough time earlier, I was there for her. She didn't say what it was or anything, and that's not the way it seemed. Um, the next morning, everybody, I always say everybody when it really be like three people, but Shanice, Alex, Jasmine, and Nick wake up to go to church. Um, Summer slept in, Jordan slept in, Preston don't go to church. Um, and I think Amir slept in as well. And so, you know, they go to church, and I don't know why Shanice went there. I feel like she just don't want to miss out on anything where the cameras are. But baby girl was like half sleep in church. Like, why are we? I mean, that's sometimes how it is on an early Sunday morning. But and Alex was in there like, oh, I'm a church kid. I was raised in the church and yada 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 yada. Honestly, Alex can't come back another season. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm so sorry. He cannot. He can't. He's so boring to me. He is so boring to me. He has no personality. Like his personality is a dud. And I mean, it can't be a dud for real. Like he might be a better person off camera because obviously these women like him. He has friends. So I don't think that he's like a dud generally, but I think that he wants to portray himself maybe a certain way on camera, so he comes off as a dud on camera. And I think this is it. Being John Legend's cousin is not enough. And he's the only single man, so you would think keep him and get rid of everybody else, but get rid of him for sure. In fact, I think they should start over with the guys. I think the only guy that should stay is Preston, in my mind. That's just a quick thinking. The only man that should stay is Preston. He's probably the most entertaining character on the entire show. So, yeah, sorry. I like the men. I really like Nick. I actually like Amir. I just think they're boring because they have girlfriends. And because they have girlfriends, they're like things that they don't want to say and they don't want to do. And it's like, scrap them, Bravo. Sorry. Sorry, guys. It's nothing against y'all personally. Only Alex, because I think he's boring. But the ones that have girlfriends, it's your girlfriend. Having a girlfriend makes you not somebody I want to watch on my television. Um, anyways, the next Summer then goes to Preston in the morning to kind of like get his perspective on everything that happened, and maybe she did something wrong. And I mean, obviously, clear with a clear mind. She's no longer drunk. She no longer has that haze of being out and partying, whatever. And Preston kind of sides with Jordan, it seems. And this is what I don't like. I feel like for some reason everybody just sides with her. They all like feel bad for her. I don't know if it's beautiful girl syndrome where the beautiful girl can't be wrong, but it just seems like people are like, well, you know, and there's always kind of like a way to make what she did and what her behavior not wrong. Um anyways, then he just says, but ultimately the two of you guys need to talk because the two of you guys are friends or say you're friends or whatever. Um Then Summer goes and asks Noelle about how things went with Alex. And she's like, girl, it went so bad. And she was crying. And she talks about like her family life and everything. And she talks about how like her dad basically abandoned her as a baby. And she feels like she's always rushing and looking for love because of it. And I guess that kind of was triggered when Alex was like, in a nice way, nah, this ain't it. You know, it's kind of sad because Noelle's so pretty. I think she is. I really do think she's a pretty girl. So it's kind of, but Alex, he don't have to like her, and not just that. Alex is at least a decent enough dude to be like, I was recently sleeping with your friend, so I don't feel comfortable, you know, trying to talk to you, which makes sense. So Alex did one thing that I can say, like, wow, good job, guy. Like you did right. Because everybody keeps calling him an F boy, and I'm not sure he is one, to be completely honest. Maybe, I don't know. I may not like certain things that he does, and I may think he's a little sneaky, but I'm not sure if he's that exactly. Um, Then Bria is talking about how she's still upset about the whole Mariah thing. Then Preston talks about how he doesn't really like church and that, they've never really been accepting of him. So he never really kind of got into it. Bria was upset because she wanted to go to church, but she said no one woke her up. Um, which is interesting because I feel like they were yelling for everybody to come. And I don't know. I just feel like Bria just likes to complain. Like she likes to be a little bratty because it looked like Alex went room by room asking people to go to church. So for Bria to come back and be like, "Oh, I wanted to go to church," it's like, girl, he went room by room. Are you saying that he skipped your room? I don't think so. Then Noelle finally gets a hold of her mother, and her mom was like, "It's okay to be emotional, but get over that man. Like you know, it wasn't yours, basically. Like her mom was real. Her mom was telling her everything that it was. Like you need to chill." And I'm like, "Oh, I like her for that." Then they go and they have like a little beach day. And honestly, this beach day was like a 10-minute beach day. It looked like they got there. Apparently, they played games and stuff, but it really looked legitimately like a 10-minute beach day. Like they was in and out of there so fast. Um, then they start getting ready for dinner, and Summer actually asks Jordan to talk. Like I feel like Jordan, I mean, not Jordan. Summer is like a very mature individual. I don't know. She strikes me as likable. I mean, she has done some things that I'm like, but she seems overall likable and kind. Um, and so she said that like she has a lot of issues going on. This is not what she says to Jordan. This is what she's saying in her confessional. Summer is like, I have a lot of issues going on, and like I'm trying to find out who my father is, and she's trying to be there for her grandmother who needs surgery, and I'm kind of like, is she trying to find out who her father is because she doesn't know who he is, or is she trying to find out who her father is like? She's trying to like she thought she knew who her father was, and now there's information that it could be someone else. You know, like I'm like, what does she mean? Because words mean things, boo. Like, what does that mean? Um, but yeah. So then Jordan starts off by kind of when they have the conversation, she's like, "You brought up my intimate moment. It was a violation, and da 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 da." Girl, you know the cameras caught you breaking down in the bathroom. Like, yes, Summer came to you, but when this aired, your intimate moments were out. Like, first of all, you told everybody that you have, well, maybe she didn't tell the people there, but I'm saying, like, it's now been talked about that you have alopecia. You talked about how, you know, with your dad and all that stuff, and you got like a campaign for a company. So I don't know why you're saying, like, I don't know. I don't know. I get it. Like, maybe you don't want people to know you cried, but like, I don't know. Didn't really rub me the right way. Then Summer explains to her that she gets no that Jordan, you know, you get so angry, Jordan, and like, you know, whatever. Um, that's what she's explaining to her. And Jordan basically is like, you know, it doesn't really matter. I just feel like, you know, I can't trust you and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't know if you're somebody I can share stuff with. And I'm just like, I don't, this girl is just not likable. I'm so sorry. Um, and you know she was I and you know ultimately I get Summer. Like Summer is saying like when you talk to people in a belittling way and somebody wants to call you out, like we can't do it, like we do it, and then it's like a whole big thing. And then it's like, okay, well, now I'm angry, and people are asking me while I'm angry and thinking that there's beef. And I'm trying to explain, like, there's no real beef. We're good. And, you know, and I may give a little story as to why I believe so. And now I'm the bad person again. There's really no winning with Jordan when she has kind of like made it up in her mind that she's mad or angry or whatever. And I just, I don't know. And Summer apologizes. She does apologize. She apologizes for maybe oversharing or whatever, you know. And Jordan did not apologize at all. There was no apology from Jordan for saying, you know, maybe I did talk to you in a manner that was disrespectful and I'm sorry. No, none of that. She did not apologize. And I'm just like, how could someone be so insufferable? Just one person by themselves, so insufferable. Crazy town. Um, anyways, everybody is enjoying dinner, and Alex notices again, because he noticed it before, but this time he notices again that Jordan is being really quiet. And, you know, oh no, this is the first time he notices it, because this is when their dinner is in the house. Yeah. So he notices that she's being really quiet, but he kind of leaves it alone. Then Bria's on the phone with Simon. I guess he's talking about he can't find a flight to the vineyard. And Bria's kind of like yelling and getting angry. And I'm like, honestly, girl, you are too grown to be yelling and talking to people the way you talk to people. Like, people maybe deal with it because she's pretty, right? Like I said, there's things that when you're pretty, when you're attractive, people will deal with stuff, and maybe that's what Bria has been getting away with. I don't know, but she talked way too crazy to people. um then Silas calls Jasmine, and she's like, oh, I feel like people are starting to suspect, that she's pregnant, which obviously it's very obvious that she was. um and because as soon as she wasn't drinking, it was like, oh, she must be pregnant. I think that hit in everybody's mind. But you don't want to, I guess because they're friends with her, but you don't want to call somebody out for being pregnant too early. um I don't, and it's so funny because I think they showed like a little clip of her, and her belly looked much larger than it did on the day she showed up, and it had only technically been 6 days. I'm like, girl, you look pregnant. um but yeah, then she wanted to hold the information because of, she wants to get in the clear based on, first trimester being over or whatever. And Silas is very supportive, and he's like, hey, it's your information. When you want to share it, I know you wanted to wait a couple more days, but if you feel like you want to share it now, then share it. um which I appreciate. Silas is a much better cast member over the phone than he is in person. Bria plans the dinner party for today or whatever it was, and she has a chef. She brings in a chef. She brings in alpacas with top hats and tuxedos. I'm like, what am I witnessing here? Like, PETA, are y'all watching? If you're not, you should be. Like, what is going on? Not that I care for alpacas like that, and they didn't harm them, but whatever. Um, then they actually head to real dinner. So I don't know what that was. Maybe it was like an appetizer. Maybe it was lunch. Honestly, I have no idea what that little party Bria had was, or maybe editing was very weird, but it looked like they had dinner and went to dinner. Not so sure. But anyway, then they go to their real dinner where they're out and about. And Alex then calls Jordan out for being quiet because she's quiet at this dinner again. And Jordan's like, I just feel like I'm running out of time. Not that she's sick with something that is taking her time quicker, but she just feels like she's overthinking stuff. She's so stressed about everything. And that's why she feels like she's running out of time. And this kind of makes Jasmine cry a little bit. And I think maybe because her and Jordan haven't really been that close. So maybe she feels like, I haven't been there for you and you haven't really been there for me. So I haven't been able to kind of have these conversations with you to see where you're at mentally and stuff. So I think that just hit her a little bit harder. Um, Alex says that he understands Jordan more this year based off of that like one statement than he did all of last year. And Jordan like does is not having it. She's like, if we're keeping it a buck, Alex, you didn't have me understood last year because you had my friend effed up. Wait, what friend? What's going on, Jordan? Like, what are you talking about right now, girl? I like honestly, I feel like that came so far out of left field. I was like, what friend is she talking about? Like, I'm trying to replay last season in about 2.5 seconds to figure out which friend and how he had her effed up because I'm like, what is she talking about? Then she basically calls out the fact that Alex was very judgy last year towards Shanice. And he tried to defend himself, but I kind of call BS because the stuff he was saying was like, it didn't really make sense to me because he was like, oh, well, Nick was the one who Googled her and this and that. Well, even if Nick Googled her, he didn't judge her. And if he did judge her, it wasn't in a space that was like, I'm not talking to this girl. I'm not going to interact with this girl. He might have judged her before he got there, but then he let his interaction with her play on how he treats her. And Shanice was cool, so he was cool. Alex was the only one like, oh, I want to stay away from that girl because she's crazy. He is the only one that kind of came at her like that. I want to keep my distance from this person because this person has this reputation. Even Nick, who may have Googled her or whatever, wasn't like that. He was still very kind to Shanice. Um, then Nick was like, well, Jasmine brought it up at the table. She was the one that wanted to talk about it. And I'm like, but still, doesn't she was trying to clear the air because y'all was too busy whispering behind this girl's back. And Shanice just starts crying. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Shanice is actually a very insecure person. And I think that's what we've learned from this episode and even last episode a little bit is people who come to you with a very positive persona, people who are very confident, tend to be hiding stuff. And what they tend to be hiding is a lot of insecurities. It's okay to have issues, be a little self conscious, to be, but the people who come off, oh, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care, they care so much. And that's a little nod to somebody who once said that they 100% don't care. Okay? That person means they 100% do care because people care, man. Life is life. I don't even think that's weird. People just care. Um, and she was talking about, Shanice was crying. She was talking about how the guy who she was dating, the guy who called her crazy, that they claim was an actor on Insecure. I'm sure he was on an episode, but Issa has so many men on there. I don't even know which one he was. But he is not famous. He is nobody. He's nobody. But he wanted to sue Shanice. Apparently, his first case got dismissed, and now he's trying to sue her again. If his case got dismissed, again, we know the legal system gets it wrong sometimes. But maybe she wasn't stalking him the way he claimed he was. She was. I don't know. I'm not if her story is what it is. Now we know Shanice. Shanice is more famous than that man because I couldn't even tell you what his name was, but I could tell you who Shanice is. So she is now the more famous of the two of them. Girl, you got it now. She won. Okay, she won, and I'm just surprised that that took Shanice so hard. I mean, I guess with everything going on, the fact that she has a lawsuit and all that, that would make it tough. But I don't know. Shanice just always gave that little I don't care attitude, but she does care a lot. Then Alice asked if he can give Shanice a hug. And Shanice is like, yeah. But it's so funny because even if she didn't want that hug, I don't think she would have said no, because I feel like she feels pressure to people please. So I think that even if she didn't want the hug, she would have said yes anyway. I do wonder that. And everybody's like, oh my God, that's big. Shanice doesn't like giving hugs. And I'm just kind of like, hmm, maybe she wanted to say no, but she didn't know how because now she feels pressure because this person is trying to give like an apology or whatever. Um, then, Preston says that he feels that everybody has kind of played a role in making people feel uncomfortable and like they can't share things. And he's like, and that includes myself. I have done stuff in which I've made people feel uncomfortable and like they can't share. And see, that's why I like Preston because when he speaks, he does not speak from a place of like y'all and not me. He speaks like we all. And that's a good characteristic to have. Like if you're trying to move a group forward or speak with the group, you can't play the you game if you know you've played a part. So he's accepting of like, I have also played a part. So we need to kind of work on that as a group. And, you know, Bria then's like, well, if that's the case, I must speak up. And she says she doesn't feel comfortable with Mariah in the house and this and that. And I'm just like, Bria, why are you doing this? Why? I feel like you're doing this because you just want people to look at you. And if people aren't looking at Bria, then Bria got to make a scene. If everything is all on someone else, I've noticed it. Pay attention, y'all. If people start paying attention to other people on the show, here comes Bria to make a scene to somehow bring the attention back to her. She does it quite often. She figures it out. If she's awake, she is trying, and they are focusing on someone else, she will try to find a way to turn that attention and get it back on her, because that moment was about Shanice. It was about Jordan. And she went and said, let's go on ahead and bring that back to me, baby. Like, y'all been focused on some other girls a little too long, and y'all need to be focused on me. And I feel like that's what she thinks in her head before she starts making these statements that mean nothing to her, but she wants to be the center of attention. So, Jasmine is really frustrated about this and she's pissed. And she's like, I feel like this group watches me take stuff on the chin, and I'm not the person that gets so angry or is always having a big reaction. So they feel like they can keep messing with me. Like, that's what she thinks. She's like, that's pretty much how they move it. I don't react a lot and I let stuff go. So then they feel like I'm the bear they can poke because this bear doesn't get mad, you know? And she's like, my mother is a brilliant but resilient two-time convicted felon. I don't play. But I think that, that's scary to me. Not the fact that her mom's a two-time felon, but I'm like, the person that never reacts, you don't ever want to see that person react, because when that person reacts, it's going to be smoke in the city. So I don't know why they feel like, oh, let's just easy target. Let's get Jasmine riled up because she going to be the person that we can kind of walk all over. So I'm glad that Jasmine's trying to like take a little stand, but she's just so upset and she's like angry and she's crying and she's trying, you could tell she's trying to like keep it together. She's trying to be like, Rhea, keep going off, whatever. But she can't, because Bria just keeps talking and she is just getting so angry. And I could tell she probably wants to pop her in the mouth, but one, she's pregnant. She can't go fighting somebody. And then two, she's pregnant. So she's probably even more emotional than she would regularly be. And she's trying real hard not to be. So I can't even imagine how Jasmine feels. Like, I want my best friend here. I'm pregnant. Like, I'm going through so many things emotionally, mentally, and I just want to have my best friend by my side for these moments. And I feel like you're trying to hinder me. And I'd be so mad at Bria because, okay, I know I said I wasn't sure who put hands on who first, and it looks like Mariah may have put hands on her first, but I'm like, it wasn't that big of a deal. They actually did not fight. It was her pushing the towels into her chest or whatever. And I just feel like Bria is being dramatic because she's a brat. And Preston calls it out. She's like, she's always huffing and puffing and getting rowdy. It's annoying, and it is. I'm like, how could everybody not be tired of this by now? Like, I know so many of them, it seems like they kind of just ignore, you know, like they ignore her, and that's what it seems like. They just kind of like, she goes off, she has a tantrum, and then people just ignore it. Like, I feel like that's what people have learned to do. um and I think people should start telling her stop it more so she does stop. um Jasmine is saying, like, when I came back to this house, I was only cool with you and Alex. That's it. That's the only people I knew where I stood with. I was cool with. I was okay with. And now, Bria, you're switching up. Like, what is going on? She's like, you're being weird. Like, we were good. We had a conversation. And if they had a conversation, that conversation had to include a conversation about Mariah, because that's the reason why they had an issue. So I know Jasmine's like, okay, what's really going on? You know what I mean? And she's like, now she's bawling and she's like, I really needed you people. Like, and everybody kind of like turned their back on me. And it's funny because if we're being real, Jasmine's the one that gave all these people an opportunity and they acting like she nobody. And I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that someone helps you get into a space and now y'all treating her like, oh, she's just whatever. The episode pretty much ends there. And honestly, I just think that this show has a long way to go in terms of getting better. But I think one of the things that would really, really help the show truly is if they just switched up the men on the cast. I even think that they can keep the women, maybe switch out Jordan, but keep all the other women, even Bria, who is a little bratty. I don't hate her, to be honest. I don't like, she's entertaining, even though she's a little bratty, whatever. She's still an entertaining person. She can still be on the show. But they just have to switch those men out. They have to. As it stands, those men cannot stay, with the exception of Preston. Sorry, Press. We keep getting lumped into that group, but you're better than that group. So tell me what you guys think. How do you feel about the cast? How do you feel about this episode? Where do you kind of see this show going? Where do you want to see the show go, right? Because we're talking about watch the show, but we can't force you to watch it if you don't like it. So where do you guys want to see this show go? How do you want to see it get better, or what do you think would make more people watch? Leave those comments below. So please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Let me know what you guys are thinking, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.